Hello, everyone. This is Jibril Sulaiman, founder of The People's Perspective. Now, what is The People's Perspective? Of course, it's a web show that allows people to come on, express their platforms, talk about their initiatives, and so forth. What we've done also is we've actually gotten into the political arena. We've launched the People's Perspective Super PAC as well. So to start that off, we want to really get into the nuts and bolts of some of the local politics that's going on here in Pensacola, Florida. So today we have Mr. Gerald Washington. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Doing great here. I'm glad that we finally got a chance to meet, to talk to each other in person. It's a privilege, actually, whether you know it or not, to sit
Yes,
down and
sir.
talk with you here. I mean, you're a young dude, man. You're a young guy. You've had political aspirations. You've shocked the world by pre-filing for superintendent. What made you do that? Give us a little background about yourself, because you're what, 18, 19, 20? How old are you?
Yeah, I'm actually 19 years old. I'm going to be 20 in August of this year.
Okay, okay. Well, so you're 19 going on 20. What made you pre-file? Was it the D's nuts pre-filing for president? What was it, man?
No, sir. Well, I've actually always wanted to actually kind of be in the political arena, and I wanted to run for superintendent of Escambia County Schools since I've actually been 16 years of age. I've always kind of been interested in going to into education or healthcare, and I kind of thought, I thought it was my turn. It actually is my turn to go into the political arena. So I kind of wanted to test the waters, and I kind of wanted to pre-file to run for superintendent of schools. And I'm dedicated to running, and I look forward to continuing my journey on running for superintendent of Escambia County Schools.
Now, you've pre-filed. Of course, there's qualification measures that you would need to have to be able to fully show up or qualify on the ballot and
Yes, sir.
to show up as a candidate in November. What are you doing to take those steps? You know, there's petitions, there's cash money that you can pay, there's a few ways that you can qualify. What are you doing to make that a actual reality?
Yes, sir. I actually have people working on getting those petitions signed. And just in case we don't have enough petitions that could be signed by the time for qualifying, I am ready to pay that qualifying fee to be able to qualify for superintendent of Escambia County Schools.
Look, man, I think when I before we actually started recording, I told you that I was proud, first of all, but then at the same time, I was inspired because for you to
Yes,
be
sir.
such a young person and to have the mind to want to be able to make a change or even make a statement by running for office, that's not something that I would have done. I was worried about trying to if you don't know me, I was around when I was 19, 20. I was selling cell phones at the flea market and fixing, repairing
Yeah.
phones and stuff like that. I was trying to make money. I wasn't trying to assert some type of political influence. You know, I've kind of dived head first into that now, but the fact of the matter is that that's just something that I was not looking into, years ago. So,
Yes, sir.
considering the fact that you've done this now, you've made this statement, and
Yes, sir.
what example do you think that you could show other people now since you've run for office? Is it something that you want other people to do? Is it something that your friends and family have come to you and said, "Hey, how did you do this? Can I do the same thing?" I mean, what do you tell
Yeah.
those people now?
Yes, sir. There have actually been a couple of friends that have asked me, are you serious about doing it? How did you do it? And it's not very hard to do it at all. You just have to have that drive and want to be able to go on into politics. The only thing that I really did was I went down to the supervisor of elections office. I am a registered voter. That's one thing that you have to be able to run for political office. You have to be a registered voter. And then you need to go down and you need to pre-file to run for any public office in Escambia County, or if you want to run for state office, you need to go down to the supervisor of elections office. Then you need to fill out those pre-filing papers. Then you need to get a campaign depository account, and those things are hard. The only thing that would kind of impede the progress for running for political office are those people who would kind of doubt you from doing that. But you have to have that determination and that drive. You can't necessarily be offset by people that are going to be negative exactly towards your campaign. You have to be willing to, continue on despite the negativity.
Great answer. Great answer. And when I saw your interview on the Pulse, which is a local media outlet as well, I took the video, I ripped the video off of their page, and I reposted it to the People's Perspective page, and I boosted it out there to see, what the response would be. So yeah, I did. You had those people that actually loved what you were doing. They encouraged you, but then you had those people. There was an argument there where I saw where there was a lady that actually said, "Hey, you're not even qualified to run for superintendent. You need a master's degree," which is untrue. The deputy superintendent has to meet a certain amount of qualifications, right? But as an elected official, you actually can run as a regular Joe Schmo and get elected as long as the people like you, as long as they feel like you're qualified. Is that right?
Right. Yes, sir.
Now, all of this has happened. Of course, you're putting together your team. You've gone through the motions. You've pre-filed and everything. Now, you hit a slight publicity road bump. Explain, and it showed up in the News Journal. It showed up in WAR. Unfortunately, it probably would have gone under the radar to a certain extent if you hadn't pre-filed. You wouldn't have gotten the publicity behind it that you did. But you pre-filed, you got the publicity behind it. Gerald, what happened, man?
Well, I think it was basically publicity smeared. You see a young black man running for public office, and they try to throw something out there to impede that person from running for public office. And I'll tell you exactly. I'll give you a limited amount of details on it because there is a ongoing process about filing a civil suit against the state of Florida in court. So I'll try to be very limited about what I say in this webcast. And there was a business, my business actually here in Pensacola, Florida. I have a business license. I'm registered with the Internal Revenue Service. I'm registered with the Florida Department of Corporations, Florida Department of State, and all that. That business insurance and all that good stuff. And what had happened was I went down to Tallahassee, Florida, and I was not registered to be a business owner in Tallahassee, Florida at the time. And what they basically said, because I had already conducted interviews, they said that because I obtained another individual's resume, that basically I was in possession of personal identification information to fraudulently use, which couldn't even be the case because how would you possibly even use a resume against someone? These people are basically looking for employment, and I was trying to be able to help them. And, but they seen a vulnerable young man, black young man at that running for public office, and I had seen it as a publicity stunt.
So you weren't collecting any social security numbers, anything like that, just resumes, and just explain that.
Yes, sir. That was the only thing that was collected. We were just in the pre-interviewing process of all of that. And, sometimes the media can over-exaggerate on certain things. And I think that was the case at this point in time.
Wow. So is there an ongoing investigation still, or is it case closed?
Yes, sir. The case has been resolved. The case is closed. I did have a wonderful attorney, Mr. Matthew Williams of Tallahassee, and we were able to get this problem resolved. And I am looking forward to continuing on my journey to becoming the superintendent of Escambia County Schools.
Now, one of the things that I have kind of realized, especially being here in Pensacola, there is a system in place. There's a network. Some people may use the terminology good old boy system, but there's a close-knit network of people who are in alliance with the system that's in place already. Okay? I'll say it like that. And so one of the things that I've realized in starting the super PAC and even being involved in the political process up until that point is the fact that you have to break down those barriers. You're gonna have to break through that glass ceiling, and to be able to bust up that network, I would say.
Yes,
What are
sir.
your plans? What are your plans on being able to do that? Because I mean, you're running against Malcolm Thomas.
Right.
Out of what your political party, and I didn't establish that at the beginning. What's your political party or your political affiliation? Are you running as in the NPA, Democrat, Republican?
I'm actually running as a Democrat in this race.
Okay, okay. And so that's going to allow you to take you to, of course, um, the general election. I mean,
Yes, sir.
what are your feelings about running against a political machine like a Malcolm Thomas? What do you think you could do to garner the hearts and minds of the voters that are here in Pensacola, in Escambia County?
Well, Well, first, I can say that I am at a huge disadvantage because there is a large amount of Republicans in Escambia County. Actually, I think it's about a couple of thousand more voters that are registered to the Republican Party than Democrats. So that's gonna put me at a huge disadvantage. But another disadvantage that I'm going to be at is the fact that that political smear happened, and it's going to be very hard for me to win over the hearts of some of the voters in Escambia County. But I think that, like I said earlier, if I put my heart, my mind, and my soul into everything that I do, and I tell these people, my aspirations, what I can do for Escambia County, what I can do for the children that are enrolled in the Escambia County School District, and how I can relate to these children, the students, the teachers, the parents, how I can relate to them, I'll be able to win them over because, some things, it's kind of like the Trump and Hillary and all their career politicians, and certain people aren't looking for career politicians because that's all America has had for the past few years are career politicians. They're looking for someone who wants to basically shed blood, sweat, and tears and basically see the results happening. And I believe that I can be that person for Escambia County.
Good deal. I tell you, that's a great answer. That's one of the things that I'm trying to figure out here as we advance our super PAC is the fact that there are going to be individuals like yourself. You've pre-filed already, so technically that's we couldn't coordinate on this. We couldn't coordinate on your campaign together or anything like that. That's against the FEC regulations.
Right.
However, there's individuals like a Jeb Bush who, even before they pre-filed, they coordinated with Right to Rise and raised $30 million before he even pre-filed to have a war chest ready to advance his campaign. Of course, we all know the result of what happened so far with his campaign. But it's just the fact of the matter is that 2 years from now, there's going to be another inspiring person out there that wants to run for office, and we have to use every available method to break down these networks.
Right.
So that means that the small guy who has limited funds,
Right.
no, unfortunately, against all of what the populists say now, you do have to have some type of fundraising machine, and sometimes
Right.
depending on who that person is, they're not just going to be able to raise $27 per donation, $5 here, $10 there, like a Bernie Sanders would. Some of these
Right.
people do need a machine, and they're grassroots. They're truly people who want to participate in the political process, but they do need that extra oomph behind them to do that. So,
Right.
unfortunately, I wouldn't be much help to you right now unless we
Right.
just went out there and went to bat for you. And you just wouldn't even know about it. So I would say this: if you ever see any if you ever see anything out there that says, "Hey, Gerald Washington, vote for Gerald Washington," then you know that somebody out there is batting for you.
Right. Right. Yes, sir.
Look, man, you know, what do you give me some final thoughts of what you could say right now to a potential voter who will see you on the ballot in November,
Yes, sir.
and you know, even if you don't win, what do you want to say
Yes,
to
sir.
that person, winning or losing, about yourself and what you want to be able to do for this community in the future.
Right. Well, I can say that I'm a very dedicated person, and I love the community oriented feel that I have for the community. And there's a lot of things that I've already done for the Pensacola community, and one of the projects that I've done already is the Florida DECA Helping Hands project when I was the Florida DECA District 1 president at Washington High School, and we collected over 60,000 food items for amount of food pantries in Pensacola, and we actually received the Presidential Volunteer Service Award, which was presented by the executive director at MANA, Dee Floundlacker, and we were actually formally recognized by given a plaque from signed by President Obama. So I've done a lot of community-oriented events for the community, and I can say that I look forward to bringing a lot of innovative things to the school district. And I know in my past interview I said that I wanted to be able to do hands-on things for the school district, and not just basically enforce the rules in the school district, but I want to be able to go into a position as a substitute teacher, food personnel employee, an administrator, and see what our teachers and our administrators actually face every day in the school district. Because if you don't do the work, you will never understand what your employees go through. So those are some of the things that I wanted to implement. And I also wanted to create a diversified workforce education program where we actually collaborate with some of the small business owners in Pensacola, and we can actually help some of these students obtain workforce education training, where they actually have the ability to not only receive the education to be successful in a certain field, but they actually have that hands-on training. So when they look for a job after high school, when they go on to college, they have the ability to find a job and also be successful in that job, and someday turn that job into a successful career.
Great words of wisdom, man. A great outlook. I'm just glad you didn't do it too. And I'm just glad, man, that you're exonerated, because that's ultimately, I'm sorry, but that's the first thing I thought. I said, man, they're trying to railroad this guy, and he's trying to do something positive. He's trying to get into the political process. So I'm glad that you didn't do it. But first of all, I'm glad you did do it, which is pre-foul. I'm glad that you did go and stick your neck out and show some gumption, man, to really get out here and to make things happen. Look, everybody is watching. Please contact Gerald, okay? Please contact him. Thank him for running. Thank him for being a young man involved in the process, and thank God that they couldn't derail or railroad this young gentleman. So, I would definitely say that, man. I have your Facebook page, your URL to your Facebook page on there. And you said that's the best way to get in touch with you. Do you have a fan page set up, a public figure page set up for yourself yet?
Yes, I do. I believe it's actually, let me go see. I'll find it for you. It's Vote Gerald Washington for Superintendent of Escambia County Schools.
Vote Gerald Washington for Superintendent of Escambia County Schools. So look up Vote Gerald Washington, and it should pull up the rest of it for you. Contact this man. Find out how you can help him. I would tell you, it takes a village. It takes a community to really raise. When you say raise a child, but raise anyone into that position of office. So, guys, reach out to him. Definitely, if you want to get in touch with me, reach out to the People's Perspective page. If you're looking to donate to the Super PAC, we will be setting up a page for electronic donations as well. But reach out to me if you're interested in helping with fundraisers or participating in raising money for the Super PAC, because we have to get more young men like this into office. And it takes a village, a community, and it takes money as well. So, guys, this is another episode of The People's Perspective. Gerald, once again, thank you, man. And
all right, thank you.
Definitely. And we'll be reaching out to everyone soon. Have a good one now.